Now, a pensioner has complained to police saying he was turned away from a bed and breakfast for being gay. Michael Black and his partner claim the owner of the Swiss B&B near Maidenhead told them that it would be against her convictions to let the pair share a bed. Well, Victoria in Holland can tell us more now. Victoria, what exactly happened in this alleged event?
Well, I said this was basically two men who decided to go away for the weekend to go and see some friends, to go and have some dinner, and to go watch a local play near Maidenhead in Cookham, as you say. Now, Michael Black and John Morgan said they booked, as you say, into the Swiss B&B. As far as they were concerned, everything was okay. They turned up and were then told that by Susanne Wilkinson, who owns the B&B, that it was against her policy to accommodate same-sex couples. Now, they were nonetheless surprised by her comments. They say this is the first time they've ever experienced this kind of homophobia in their over 100 years between them, if you add up their ages. Now, they said they were polite, there was nothing they did rudely, and they're very surprised by what's happened.
To start with, she said very little, and we followed her into the house, and she then really checked that we booked a double room, and we had questions like, or statements like, "It's a big bed." We said, "Yes, that's what we booked." And then she said, "Well, I'm sorry, it's against my convictions to have two men sharing a bed. You can't stay."
So I then said that I knew it was illegal for a hotel to discriminate, but I didn't know about a B&B. We've since checked, and it is illegal.
That's right.
And she said, "Well, it's my private home." And she also said if we told her in advance we would talk two men, she would have told us not to come.
Michael Black and John Morgan were met by the owner when they turned up on Friday and given their deposit back. Let's speak to Michael Black, one of those two men. Michael, good afternoon. Talk us through exactly what happened.
Well, we decided to go to Cookham for the weekend to see friends and see a play, and looked online to find a B&B, found a place that looked fine, inquired if there was a room available, double room. There was, confirmed that, sent a deposit, and then when we turned up on Friday evening, the owner sent us away and said she wouldn't let us stay in her home.
And how did you react?
We were shocked, of course, at this happening in this day and age. We were very angry about it, but obviously controlled our behaviour when we were with her. We were in a rush. We'd been delayed by traffic, so we only spent probably 7 or 8 minutes with her, and then went to meet the friends we'd arranged to see for dinner, and then went to the play. And then afterwards, it was 10 o'clock on a wet Friday night, and we thought looking for somewhere else to stay isn't a good idea at this time, so we drove straight home.
Drove home? How long did that take?
Well, it was an hour and a half, and it wasn't a disaster.
Well, the owner of the guest house has given us this statement saying they gave me no prior warning and I couldn't offer them another room as I was fully booked. I don't see why I should change my mind and my beliefs I've held for years just because the government should force it on me. I am not a hotel, I am a guest house, and this is a private house. How would you respond to that?
Well, she doesn't realise that the laws against discrimination cover all companies that provide a service to the public, including B&Bs. So, in fact, it's illegal for her, as the owner of a B&B, whether or not she lives in it, it's illegal for her to discriminate against guests. And as for telling her in advance, it would be like saying if anyone books a room online or by phone, they've got to say, "Oh, by the way, my wife is black," or "my husband's a Muslim," or "I'm left-handed," or something, just in case the owner is prejudiced against that particular group. It's illegal for the owners of hotels or guest houses to ask questions about who you are, about the sex of the people involved, or about their religion or race. And so it's totally unreasonable for her to expect us to tell her in advance that we're two men, as though we're apologetic about it, which we certainly aren't.
Did you ever, I believe you've been out for quite a long time, was there a stage where you would ever let a bed and breakfast owner know and then about that?
No, I've been out for 35 years now, and I've never in that time had any difficulty staying in hotels or B&Bs with boyfriends. And in the last few years that John and I have been together, we've stayed in a number of places in this country and abroad, and we've never had any
problems.
trouble.
Listen, Michael, stay on the line. We're going to bring in Mike Judge from the Christian Institute, an organisation that gives financial advice and support to Christians in business. Now, you've spoken to the B&B owner. What have they had to say to you?
Yeah, I spoke to them this morning, and for them, this is a matter of conscience for them. They're fully aware that maybe not everybody agrees with their views, but they feel this is their home. And surely the world's big enough to allow people to disagree on these things without the law trying to force them to act against their sincerely held religious beliefs. I think, from what I can gather, all parties accept that the conversation that was had on Friday evening was polite and there wasn't any abuse. The couple regret the inconvenience that it caused, but they stand by their beliefs, which they've held sincerely for many years.
And it's religious beliefs that they're stating.
Yep, the couple are a Christian, and we've been in touch with them, and we've offered them any help because, I think it's clear that this is a legal issue now as well, and it would be open to this homosexual couple to sue these Christians if they wish to. I regret that the law exists in that way, and I regret that the law doesn't take more account of the fact that different people have got different opinions.
Well, the Thames Valley Police have given us this statement. The incident may be a breach of the Equalities Act, Sexual Orientation Regulations 2007, which outlaws discrimination by businesses against gay, lesbian and bisexual people. It is not a criminal offence, so police will not be carrying out a criminal investigation. Mike Judge, I mean, it's not a criminal offence, so police will not be carrying out a criminal investigation. Why would that be the case if it is a breach of the Equalities Act?
If it's a breach of the Equalities Act, that comes under civil law. And as I say, it would be open to the homosexual couple to take a civil action against the guest house if they wish to. But it's certainly not a matter for the police, because the police are only there to investigate criminal actions. I regret that the complaint was made to the police in the first instance. Now, there's no doubt that the homosexual couple experienced some inconvenience, and I think everyone regrets that. But it's not a crime, and I am worried that we're getting to the point where we begin to interpret disagreement as hatred, that people who've got a different view about sexual behaviour are somehow homophobic. I think we've got to be very careful about looking into people's souls and looking into what motivates them. Just because they take a different view doesn't mean they're hatred, and it's certainly not something for the police.
Let me bring back in Michael Black, the man who was turned away from the bed and breakfast. Disagreement is not hatred. What would you say to that?
The point here is not the opinions of the owner of the B&B. The point is the current law forbids her to turn away people on the basis of sexual orientation as well as race, religion and so on. She could, if she wants to continue in that business, then she should put on a brave face, if you like. She has to provide the service that she's committed herself to providing, and she doesn't have to like guests. Guests don't have to like her, but she needs to provide a reasonably friendly, polite service that you would expect from a B&B.
Will you be taking civil action?
We're considering it. We haven't decided yet.
Mike Judge, what would you say to Michael Black as to whether he should?
Well, I mean, it is a matter for him and his partner at the end of the day, but I would appeal to him not to do so because, surely the world is big enough to allow people to disagree. I don't think the law should force her actually to act against her religious beliefs. I mean, this idea that somehow you've got religious liberty if you're free to believe things inside your head. No, religious liberty is surely more than that. It's got to be the freedom to be able to act upon those beliefs as well. And if we really believe in a diverse society, we've got to accept not everybody agrees. Surely the world's big enough so that we can just all agree to disagree.
That's Mike Judge from the Christian Institute, and before that, Michael Black, who was turned away from a bed and breakfast at the weekend for being gay. A couple of texts coming through on this. Joe in Grantham says, good for the B&B owner standing up for her beliefs. And Andy says, the law is clear. Yes, you can be a bigot, but you can't take it to work or impose it in business.